the content of laser omentum? Do you know content of laser omentum? What do you mean by omentum? Which connects the stomach to the other viscera. Stomach covered by a peritoneal folds. Peritoneum, it is named as the omentum. Greater omentum and lesser omentum. So today we are going to study about this small intestine. Last time we have studied the stomach. Now today we are going to study about this small intestine. And this small intestine, it intervenes between the stomach and large intestine. Intervenes between the stomach and large intestine, and it is the longest part of the GIT. Which part of the GIT is the longest? Small intestine is the longest part of the GIT, and its length is about the 6.5 meters or the 6.25 meter, about 6.5 or the 6.25 meters, and it extends from pyloric orifice to the ileocecal orifice or the ileocecal junction. It extends from the pyloric orifice to ileocecal junction, and this small intestine, it is divided into the three parts. Duodenum, C-shaped tube is the duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So what are the different parts of the small intestine? Duodenum, jejunum, and from above downwards they are the duodenum, jejunum and ileum. Duodenum, it is a C-shaped tube. Duodenum, it is a C-shaped tube, extends from the pyloric orifice to duodenojejunal flexion. It extends from the pyloric orifice to duodenojejunal flexion. You know the vertebral level of the pyloric orifice. It lies opposite of L1.
Border of L3.
L1. How many times? Opposite of lower border of the L1 at which plane? At which?
Transpyloric plane.
At transpyloric plane. And this duodenojejunal flexion, it lies at the level of L2, 2.5 centimeter to the left of median plane and about 1.25 centimeter below of the transpyloric plane. So this is the surface anatomy for the pyloric orifice and the duodenojejunal flexure. Duodenojejunal flexure, it lies 1 centimeter or 1.25 centimeter below of the transpyloric plane, 2.5 centimeter to the left of the median plane. If you take the point there, then it represents the duodenojejunal flexure. That is the junction of duodenum and jejunum. This duodenum, the shape of the duodenum is a C-shaped tube which is present around the head of the pancreas. Here it is the pancreas. So it is present around the pancreas, and the duodenum, it is the fixed and dilated part of the small intestine. Fixed and the dilated part of the small intestine, whereas the jejunum and the ileum, they are mobile. They are mobile and covered by the peritoneum, and the peritoneum and the peritoneum of the jejunum and the ileum, it is named mesentery or the mesentery. Peritoneum of the stomach, omentum. Peritoneum of the jejunum and the ileum, small intestine, is the mesentery. Mesentery is the double layer of the peritoneal folds which suspends the jejunum and the ileum from the posterior abdominal wall. So it is suspended from the posterior abdominal wall by a mesentery. Mesentery is a double layer of the peritoneal folds. Whereas the duodenum, it is a retroperitoneal organ. Duodenum, it is a retroperitoneal organ, except the first part of the duodenum. The adjacent part of the duodenum, or the first part or the proximal part of the duodenum, it behaves more like a stomach, and it is suspended by the lesser and the greater omentum. Except the proximal part of the duodenum, rest of the duodenum, they are retroperitoneal organ. Stomach, jejunum, ileum, these are the intraperitoneal organ. They are covered from both sides by a peritoneum, whereas duodenum, it is covered by the peritoneum in only from the anterior surface only, as well as on the lateral side. So what is retroperitoneal and the intraperitoneal organ? Clear? Retroperitoneal, it is directly come in contact with the posterior abdominal wall, whereas intraperitoneal organs, they are connected to the posterior abdominal wall via the peritoneal folds. Clear? Retroperitoneal organ and the intraperitoneal organ. Different parts of the intestine, they are the duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. Duodenum, it is about the 25 centimeter in length. So what are the important features of the small intestine? There is a presence of these circular folds. Presence of these circular folds. Its function is to slow the passage of the contents. And these circular folds, circular mucosal folds, are also called as the plica circularis or the valve of Corkring. So don't confuse with the valve of Corkring or the plica circularis. These are the permanent mucosal fold. In case of the stomach, mucosal folds are temporary. But in case of the intestine, small intestine, these mucosal folds are the permanent circular mucosal fold. The synonymous name for these circular mucosal folds, they are called as the plicae circularis or valve of Corkring. And in the small intestine, there is a presence of the villi and microvilli. Its function is to increase the surface area for absorption. And the intestinal glands present in the lamina propria. Intestinal glands present in the lamina propria, and these intestinal glands are also called as the crypts of Lieberkühn. Crypts of the Lieberkühn, which is present in the lamina propria. Now the first part of the small intestine is duodenum. First part of the small intestine is duodenum. This duodenum, it extends from the pyloric orifice to the duodenojejunal flexure. And this duodenum, the old duodenum, it is discovered by the Herophilus. It is the ord is discovered by Herophilus, and duodenum, it is derived from the Greek word. It is derived from the Greek word dodecadactylus. Dodecadactylus, which means the length of the duodenum is equal to the breadth of the 12 fingers. Dodecadactylus means the length of the duodenum is equal to the breadth of the 12 fingers. See, this man has 12 fingers, 1, 2. So, breadth of the 12 fingers is equal to the length of the duodenum. The length of the duodenum is 25 centimeter. The length of the duodenum is 25 centimeter. You are listening to me or not? Huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So dodecadactylus means the length of the small intestine is equal to the breadth of the 12 fingers. What is the length of the small intestine? 25 centimeter. Extends from the pyloric orifice to duodenojejunal flexure, which is the junction of the duodenum and jejunum. And it is a C-shaped tube which is present around the head of the pancreas. And this duodenum, it lies opposite of L1, L2 and the L3 vertebrae above the level of umbilical. Now what are the different parts of the duodenum? See, duodenum, it is a fixed part, retroperitoneal organ. Retroperitoneal organ, fixed part, dilated part of the small intestine. 25 centimeter in length, extends, from the pyloric orifice to the duodenojejunal flexure. And it is derived from the Greek word dodecadactylus, which means the length of the small duodenum is equal to the breadth of the 12 fingers. And the duodenum, it is derived by the Herophilus. Now, what are the different parts of the duodenum? This duodenum, it is divided into the 4 parts. First part, or the superior part, which extends from the pyloric orifice to the superior duodenal flexure. Superior duodenal flexure. And the second part, or the descending part, or the vertical part, it extends from the superior duodenal flexure to the inferior duodenal flexure. Inferior duodenal flexure. Third part, or the horizontal part, it extends from the inferior duodenal flexure to the front of the abdominal aorta. Front of the abdominal aorta. Now the fourth part, or the ascending part, it extends from the front of the abdominal aorta to duodenojejunal flexure. Duodenojejunal flexure. So the first part, see its extension, it is from the pyloric orifice to the superior duodenal flexure. It extends upwards, backwards and to the right of the pyloric orifice. The length of the first part is 5 centimeter. 5 centimeter. Now the descending part, it extends from the superior duodenal flexure, which lies opposite of L1, and it extends up to the opposite of L3 at inferoduodenal flexure. And its length is about the 8 to 10 centimeter. 8 to 10 centimeter. Now the third part, or the horizontal part, it extends from the inferior duodenal flexure, and its vertebral level is L3. L3. It extends up to the front of abdominal aorta. So its length is about the 10 centimeter. Ascending part, 2.5 centimeter, extends from the front of the abdominal aorta to duodenojejunal flexure. And this duodenojejunal flexure, it lies at the level of L2, 2.5 centimeter to the left of median plane and 1 centimeter distal to the transpyloric plane. Clear? What are the different parts of the duodenum? First part is or the superior part, descending or the second part, horizontal or the third part, ascending or the fourth part. And the length of the ascending part is the 2.5 centimeter. So you can remember like this also. Ascending part 1 inch, then superior 2 inch, 3 inch and the 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. From the ascending, then the superior is the 2 inches, descending 3 and the horizontal 4 inches. So what are the peculiarities of the first part of the duodenum? Previously I told that the first proximal part or the first part of the duodenum, it likes more to stomach than the duodenum or than the small intestine. And this first part of the duodenum, it is covered by a lesser and the greater omentum. At the upper margin, it is connected to the liver via the which ligament? Hepato. What are the two parts of the lesser omentum?
Hepatogastric ligament, hepatoduodenal ligament.
Hepatoduodenal ligament. So on the upper margin, it is connected with the hepatoduodenal ligament. And lower margin of the first part of the duodenum, it is related with greater omentum. So first part of the duodenum, it is a intraperitoneal organ. We say that the duodenum, it is a fixed part of the fixed part, except the proximal part of the duodenum. It is more movable. Then this first part of the duodenum, it is supplied by the end arteries, by the branches of the gastroduodenal and the right gastroepiploic arteries. The branch of the gastroduodenal are the supraduodenal and the retroduodenal arteries. And the branch of the gastroepiploic artery is the infraduodenal artery. It is affected by the peptic ulcer and it is devoid of the circular mucosal fold or the plica circularis. See, here this is the first part of the duodenum. This first part of the duodenum, it is devoid of valve of Kerckring or the plica circularis. Clear? And upper margin gives attachment to the lesser omentum, that is a hepatoduodenal ligament, and the lower margin gives attachment to the greater omentum of the stomach. And it is supplied by the end arteries affected by the peptic ulcer. And there is a presence of the triangular cap-like structure known as the duodenal cap, or the triangular elevations or the triangular bulb is present, and this triangular bulb is called the duodenal cap, which is observed after the barium meal, and it is normally present in the duodenum, first part of the duodenum. If it is distorted, the patient may be suffer from the duodenal ulcer or the carcinoma of duodenum. See, in the normal anatomy of the duodenum, this duodenal cap is present. Clear? Peculiarities of the first part of the duodenum. What are the peculiarities of the first part of the duodenum? It behaves more like a stomach than the duodenum. It is supplied by the end arteries, devoid of the circular mucosal fold known as the valve of Kerckring or the plica circularis. Duodenal cap is observed. See here, this is the triangular elevation or the triangular bulb is called the duodenal cap, which can be observed after the barium meal. So for the radiograph of the GIT, barium meal is given to the patient to observe the different parts of the GIT. So here it is the stomach. Which part of the stomach is this? This black color, fundus of the stomach. It appears black because it is always filled with air. Capacity is the 50 ml. Now the features of the interior of the second part of the duodenum. Second part of the duodenum, it is important. So what when we see the interior, we can visualize these structures. They are the minor duodenal papilla, major duodenal papilla, this circular mucosal fold, then the plica semicircularis and the plica longitudinalis. Plica semicircularis and the plica longitudinalis. So plica circularis, what is the plica circularis or the valve of Kerckring? These are the permanent circular mucosal fold. Plica circularis is the permanent circular mucosal fold, and its function is to slow the passage of the contents. Now, next structure present in the second part of the duodenum is the major duodenal papilla. Major duodenal papilla. It is a conical projection present on the posterior-medial wall of the second part of duodenum. Where it is present on the posterior-medial wall of the second part of the duodenum, 8 to 10 centimeter distal to the pyloric orifice. 8 to 10 centimeter distal to the pyloric orifice. And in this orifice, there is the opening of the ampulla of Batter. Ampulla of the Batter. And this ampulla of the Batter, it is formed by the fusion of the bile duct and the main pancreatic duct. Main pancreatic duct and the bile duct, it pierces the duodenal wall individually and fused and forms the ampulla of Batter or the hepatopancreatic duct. Don't confuse with the hepatopancreatic duct. Hepatopancreatic duct also it is the same, matlab ampulla of Batter. They are the synonymous word. Ampulla of the Batter or the hepatopancreatic duct. So last time your seniors were confused. Hepatopancreatic duct was asked, but they have studied only the ampulla of the Batter. So ampulla of the Batter and the hepatopancreatic duct, they are same. They are the synonymous word. So where does the ampulla of the Batter opens? It opens on the summit of major duodenal papilla. Bile duct secretes the bile, and the main pancreatic transmit the pancreatic juices or the enzymes. What is the functions of bile? Its main functions is emulsification of fat. Clear? Major duodenal papilla. Now the minor duodenal papilla. Minor duodenal papilla. This minor duodenal papilla, it is present 2 centimeter above of the major duodenal papilla. 2 centimeter above of the major duodenal papilla, ventral to the major duodenal papilla, ventral and 2 centimeter above of the major duodenal papilla. And in the minor duodenal papilla, there is the opening of the duct of accessory pancreatic duct. Pancreas has two ducts, main pancreatic duct and the accessory pancreatic duct. Main pancreatic duct fused with the bile duct to form the ampulla of the Batter, which opens on the major duodenal papilla, and the duct of the accessory pancreatic duct, it opens on the minor duodenal papilla. Now other features in the second part of the duodenum are the plica semicircularis and the plica longitudinalis. Plica semicircularis, see, this arch present above the major duodenal papilla. Arch above the major duodenal papilla is the plica semicircularis. These are not the circular mucosal folds, these are the arch mucosal fold which is arching above the major duodenal papilla, which resembles as a monk's hood, is the plica semicircularis. Other is the plica longitudinalis, which extends from the major duodenal papilla caudally. The longitudinal mucosal fold which extends downwards from the major duodenal papilla is the plica longitudinalis. Clear? So write the interior. What are the features of the interior of the second part of the duodenum? What are the features in the interior of the second part of the duodenum? What structures?
Circularis, major duodenal papilla, minor duodenal papilla, plica semicircularis, and plica.
So what is plica circularis?
And it is the muscular fold.
Permanent mucosal. It is a mucosal fold, permanent mucosal fold. In case of the stomach, they are permanent mucosal fold or the temporary mucosal fold?
They are temporary.
Temporary mucosal fold, and it has a name. What is that? The temporary mucosal fold has a name. Rugae. So arterial supply of the first part of the duodenum. They are supplied by the end arteries. Na? Arterial supply of the first part of the duodenum. Huh? Just I finished. First part of the duodenum. It is supplied by branches of gastroduodenal and the right gastroepiploic artery. So this diagram illustrates the relations of the different parts of the duodenum. First part, second part, third part, and the fourth part. So first part, anteriorly it is related with gallbladder and quadrate lobe of liver. See first part of the duodenum, relations of the first part of the duodenum. There anteriorly is the gallbladder and quadrate lobe of the liver. Posteriorly is bile duct, gastroduodenal artery, portal vein, inferior vena cava. Above, it gives attachment to the lesser omentum, and posterior margin of upper margin of the posterior side, it forms the floor of the epiploic foramen of Winslow. Remember, epiploic foramen of the Winslow, which communicates the greater and the lesser sac. Greater and the lesser sac. Lower margin, it is related with the, it gives attachment to the greater omentum, as well as it is related with head of the. See, first part, you know the duodenum, it is divided into the four parts, first, second, third, and the fourth part. First part, you extension you know, its length you know. So what are the relations of the first part? Anteriorly is the gallbladder and the quadrate lobe of the liver. Posteriorly, bile duct, gastroduodenal artery, portal vein, and the inferior vena cava. Upper margin, it has the upper margin. This upper margin, 2.5 centimeter of the upper margin, it gives attachment to the hepatoduodenal ligament. And posterior part of the upper margin, it forms the floor of the epiploic foramen. So what is the functions of the epiploic foramen of Winslow? It helps to communicate the greater and the lesser sac. Lesser sac, it lies behind the stomach, and anterior to the stomach is the greater sac. So these two sacs, they are communicated via the epiploic foramen of Winslow. Lower margin, 2.5 centimeter of the proximal to the 2.5 centimeter of the this lower margin of the first part of the duodenum, it gives attachment to the greater omentum, and other parts gives other parts are related with the head or pancreas. Now the second part extends from the superior to the inferior duodenal flexure. Anteriorly, it is related with the gallbladder, transverse colon, and the coils of the jejunum. On the right side, or the medially is the laterally is the right colic flexure, which is the junctions of the transverse and the ascending colon. Medially is the head of the pancreas, main pancreatic duct, bile duct, ventral and the dorsal, superior and the inferior pancreatico-duodenal vessels. Posteriorly, it is related with the duodenal impressions of the right kidney, and the right renal vessels. Clear? Now the third part, it extends from the inferior duodenal flexure to the front of the abdominal aorta, and anteriorly it is related with the superior mesenteric vessels, superior mesenteric artery and the vein. Also, it is related with the root of the mesentery. Below, it is related with the coils of the jejunum. Above, uncinate process of the pancreas. Posteriorly, it is related with the right psoas major muscles, right ureter, inferior vena cava, and the abdominal aorta. Now the fourth part, it extends from the front of the aorta to the superior duodenal flexure, duodenojejunal flexure. The relations you read by yourself. Now the suspensory muscles of the duodenum, or it is also called as the ligaments of the trees. The functions of these suspensory muscles of the duodenum, it keeps the duodenojejunal flexure in position. Duodenojejunal flexure is kept in positions by the suspensory muscles of the duodenum or the ligament of trees, which is arise from the right margin of the right cross of the diaphragm. That is the esophageal opening of the right cross of the diaphragm. So it extends downwards to the left side and suspends the duodenojejunal flexure. The suspensory muscles of the duodenum or the ligaments of the trees, it is developed from the primitive midgut. And it consists of the upper one third, it is made up of the unstriated muscles, middle one third made up of the elastic tissue, and the lower one third made up of the striated muscles. These are the relations of the duodenum. So the arterial supply of the duodenum, they are supplied by the superior and the inferior pancreatico-duodenal arteries. Superior and the inferior pancreatico-duodenal arteries. Superior and the inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery. Inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery, it is a branch of the superior mesenteric artery, and the superior pancreatico-duodenal artery, it is a branch of the hepatic artery. Hepatic artery. So the first part of the duodenum, they are supplied via the end arteries. They are the gastroduodenal and the right gastroepiploic arteries, and then this part of the duodenum, they are supplied via the superior and the inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery. Now the venous drainage, they drain into the superior mesenteric vein and the inferior mesenteric vein. Lymphatic drainage, pancreatico-duodenal lymph nodes, and finally it drains into the celiac and the superior mesenteric lymph nodes. Nerve supply, sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Sympathetic via the celiac and the superior mesenteric plexus, which is derived from the T6 to T9 segments of the spinal cord, and the parasympathetic, always the most of the GIT, they are supplied by the vagus nerve, vagi right and the left vagus nerves. Clinical anatomy of the duodenal is the duodenal cap. It is normally present in every human, but if it is distorted, then there is the absence of the duodenal cap and the duodenal ulcer. This duodenal cap, it is normally present because the part of the pyloric orifice, it is invaginated to the first part of the duodenum. Because of that reason, the duodenal cap is seen when the patient is given the barium meal. The jejunum and the ileum, this jejunum and the ileum, it extends from the duodenojejunal flexure to the ileocecal junction. Duodenojejunal flexure, it lies to the left of the L2, whereas the right, ileocecal junction, it is present at the junctions of the transtubercular plane and the right lateral plane. You know how to draw the transtubercular plane and the right lateral plane. Yes or no? Right lateral means that there are the two vertical planes in the anterior abdominal wall. On the right side, it is named as the right lateral plane. Understood? Huh? You are listening to me or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the ileocecal junction, it is present at the junctions of the transtubercular plane and the right lateral plane. Right lateral plane. Okay, jejunum, it occupies mostly the left upper quadrant of the abdomen. And the ileum, it occupies the lower right quadrant of the abdomen. Jejunum and the ileum, its surface anatomy, it is present in the umbilical region. Duodenum, jejunum, small intestine, it is mainly present on the umbilical region of the anterior abdominal wall. See, in the cadaver, it looks like this. Jejunum, ileum. Jejunum, it is present on the upper left quadrant, and the ileum, it is present on the lower right quadrant. Lower right quadrant. And this jejunum and the ileum, they are suspended by this yellowish color is the mesentery. Peritoneal folds which suspends the jejunum and ileum and connected to the posterior abdominal wall. Via the mesentery, the jejunum and the ileum, it gets the nutrition. So what are the difference between the jejunum and the ileum? Location, it lies on the left upper quadrant. Ileum lies in the right lower quadrant. Lumen of the jejunum is wide and empty, whereas the ileum, it is narrow and it is loaded because it lies near to the large intestine, so it is often loaded. Walls of the jejunum, it is thicker and the more vascular, whereas the ileum, it is thinner and the less vascular. Mesentery, fats are the less abundant and the fats are the more abundant in case of the ileum. windows are present in the jejunum, absent in the ileum. Arterial arcades, 1 or 2, arterial arcades, 3 or the more. Bassa recta are longer and the fewer, whereas in case of the ileum, bassa recta, they are shorter and the more. Circular folds are larger and the more closely shaped, whereas in case of the ileum, it is smaller and the sparse and absent in the distal part, like large, thick, and the more abundant, whereas shorter, thinner, and the less abundant. Pairs patches absent in the jejunum, pairs patches present in the ileum. Solitary lymphatic follicles fewer. In case of the ileum, it is numerous. See here, this is the diagram showing the jejunum in the terminal. See the difference between the circular mucosal fold. Circular mucosal fold, it is densely present in case of the jejunum. But in case of the ileum, in the proximal part of the ileum, it is present. But in case of the terminal ileum, the circular mucosal fold is absent. See the differences between the jejunum and the ileum in case of the circular mucosal fold. Now, see, here are these are the arterial arcades in the jejunum. Arterial arcades are only 1 or the 2 arterial arcades are present in case of the jejunum, but in case of the ileum, see, there are 5 or numerous arterial arcades are present. Numerous arterial arcades are present. And bassa recta, in case of the jejunum, it is longer and fewer. Longer and the fewer, whereas in case of the bassa recta, whereas in case of the ileum, bassa recta are shorter and more. See the difference. And in case of the jejunum, these windows are present because the mesentery it is thin in case of the jejunum, but in case of the ileum, the jejunum is thick as well as the bassa recta, they are widely present. Because of this reason, the windows in the ileum is absent. Pairs patches, it is present only in the ileum, pairs patches absent in the jejunum. Now the mesentery. See, mesentery, it is important. Mesentery means it is a peritoneal folds which suspends the jejunum and the ileum, not the duodenum, to the posterior abdominal wall, and via this mesentery, the jejunum and the ileum gets the nutrients, drains the deoxygenated blood. So, mesentery is a broad fan-shaped peritoneal folds which suspends the jejunum and the ileum from the posterior abdominal wall, and it presents the two borders, anterior or the intestinal or the free border. Anterior or the intestinal or the free border. Posterior is the vertebral border or the root. Vertebral border or the root. See, it has the anterior and the posterior border. Anterior called as the intestinal or the free border, which we enclose the jejunum and the ileum. And here it is the root or the vertebral border. This root or the vertebral border, it extends from the duodenojejunal flexure to the right sacroiliac joint. Right sacroiliac joint. So what is the extension of the root of the mesentery? It extends from duodenojejunal flexure to right sacroiliac joint. Right sacroiliac joint. And its length, it is about the 15 centimeter. And what structure it crosses? It crosses the third part of the duodenum, inferior mesenteric vein, right psoas major, right gonadal vessels, and the right sacroiliac joint. Right sacroiliac joint. See, sometimes it may be asked that what are the structures crossed by the root of the mesentery? So what are the contents of the mesentery? This is also important. Contents of the mesentery. Because the mesentery splits to enclose the jejunum and the ileum. So the main content of the mesentery is the jejunum and the ileum. And jejunal and the ileal branches of the superior mesenteric vessels. Jejunum and the ileum. Jejunum and the ileum, the arterial supply of the jejunum and the ileum is the jejunal and the ileal branches of the superior mesenteric artery. Superior mesenteric artery. Jejunal and the ileal branches of the superior mesenteric artery. Lacteals and the mesenteric lymph nodes. loose areolar tissue, and the fats. So what are the contents of the mesentery? Jejunum and the ileum, jejunal and the ileal branches of the superior mesenteric vessels, lacteals and the mesenteric lymph nodes, loose areolar tissue, and the fat. These are the content of the mesentery. Meckel's diverticulum. So Meckel's diverticulum, it is the remnant of the proximal part of the vitalo-intestinal duct. So in the embryonic life, in the intrauterine life, there is a vitalo-intestinal duct which connects the midgut to the yolk sac. This duct has to disappear. If the proximal part persists, then it is named as the Meckel's diverticulum. So what is Meckel's diverticulum? It is a remnant of the proximal part of vitalo-intestinal duct, which is arise from the anti-mesenteric border. One is the mesenteric border, which is suspended by the mesentery. Opposite to the mesenteric border is the anti-mesenteric border. So from the anti-mesenteric border, a blind pause may arise, which is the remnant of the proximal part of the vitalo-intestinal duct is the Meckel's diverticulum. So what are the features of the Meckel's diverticulum? It is present 2 feet proximal to ileocecal junction. 2 feet proximal to the ileocecal junction. 2 inches long. It is present in around the 2% subjects. Remnant of the proximal part of the vitalo-intestinal duct, and it consists of the same caliber as the ileum. And the caliber of the ileum, it is about the 3.5 centimeter. And the tip of the Meckel's diverticulum, it may be free or may be attached to the umbilicus or any other abdominal organs. So Meckel's diverticulum features is it follows the rule of 2. 2 feet proximal to the ileocecal junctions. It is present about the 2% subjects, 2 inches long. It is a remnant of the proximal part of the vitalo-intestinal duct. Now the microscopic anatomy of the duodenum. See, duodenum, it has the same layers, 4 layers from inside outward. They are the mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and the serosa. All things are same except the identifying features of the duodenum is there is a presence of the villi, finger-like projections, villi. Function is to absorb, which function is to increase the surface area for the absorptions. Another important features of the duodenum is in the submucosa there is a presence of the duodenal glands or the Brunner's glands. See, this is the identifying features for the duodenum. In the submucosa, presence of the duodenal glands or the Brunner's glands. And the functions of the Brunner's glands is to secrete the bicarbonate ion, bicarbonate. And the functions of the bicarbonate is to neutralize the acid. Acid produced by the stomach, they comes downwards to neutralize that acid. The duodenal glands, it secretes the bicarbonate, SCO3, bicarbonic ion. Clear? Others, they are same. And these are the intestinal glands, which is present on the lamina propria. What are the parts of the mucosa? Lining epithelium is the same. Simple columnar epithelium, lamina propria, where there is a presence of the intestinal glands or the crypts of Lieberkühn. Crypts of the Lieberkühn and the lamina, this muscularis mucosae, which is made of 2 layers of the muscle. Outer is the longitudinal, inner is circular. Submucosa, it consists of the Brunner's glands. And this mucus muscularis externa, again the same, consists of the 2 layers of the muscles. They are the inner is the circular, outer is the longitudinal, in between there is a nerve plexus. They are the myenteric plexus or the Auerbach's plexus. This myenteric also called as the Auerbach's plexus. Now the histology of the jejunum. Histology of the jejunum also same. And the shape of the villi, in case of the jejunum, it is tongue shape. Tongue shape. It also consists of the 4 layers. The shape of the villi, in case of the duodenum, it is a leaf shape. Leaf shape. And the microscopic anatomy of the ileum, there is a presence of the these pairs patches in the lamina propria. So what are the identifying features of the duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum? Ileum, when there is a presence of the pairs patches, then it is a ileum. You have to see the pairs patches in the lamina propria. See collections of the lymphatic nodules. So in case of the ileum, the Peyer's passage is present. In case of the duodenum, Brunner's gland is present. If Brunner's gland also absent and the Peyer's passage is also absent and the shape of the villi it is a tongue shape, then that is a jejunum. And in case of the this ileum, the villi is finger-like shape. Finger-like shape. Now clear? So these are the differences between the jejunum, duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. Ileum. How to identify? By the Peyer's patches. Peyer's patches. In case of the duodenum, Brunner's gland, or the soft mucosal glands, or the duodenal glands. And in case of the jejunum, both this Brunner's glands also absent, and the absence of the Peyer's patches. Thank you. So any questions? Huh? If you do not have a question, then I will end the meeting. So what is the differences between the, how will you identify the jejunum, ileum, and the duodenum? Duodenum, in the submucosal presence of the Brunner's glands. In case of the ileum, Peyer's patches is present in the lamina propria. But in case of the jejunum, it is absent. Both the Brunner's glands also absent and the Peyer's patches also absent. Meckel's diverticulum, see Meckel's diverticulum in small intestine, it is important. Everything is important in the this small intestine. Mesentery is important. Meckel's diverticulum is important. Say interior of the second part of the duodenum is important. So what is the structures present in the interior of the second part of the duodenum? Who will tell? Yamuna?
Yes, ma'am.
Yamuna. Structures are present in the interior of the second part of the duodenum.
Second part, plica circularis,
Plica.
major duodenal, plica circularis, major duodenal papilla, minor duodenal papilla, and
Plica longicalis.
plica semicircularis, and plica longitudinalis.
Plica. It's plica. Structure opens in the duodenal papilla, major duodenal papilla.
Hepatopancreatic duct opens.
Or it is also called,
or the ampulla of the vein.
How it is formed?
It is formed by the joining of the bile duct and the main pancreatic
duct. And it is present, where it is present? In which the second part of the duodenum?
Posterior medial part, that is 8 to 10 centimeter distal to the pyloric orifice.
Distal. Good.